Today is a very big day for Catholics in Derry. People might be wondering, where is Bishop McDonald, because he wasn't leading the consecration yesterday on the YouTube channel. Well, he is in Madrid with many Catholics from Derry, because today they opened the cause for canonization for Sister Clare Crockett, who was a sister from the Home of the Mother, who died in an earthquake in 2016 when the building she was in collapsed, along with some other girls at the time. And after Sister Clare's death, they started to publish some of her writings. They've published this book, Alone with Christ Alone. And as they've said, thousands and thousands and thousands of people have been inspired by this Derry sister. Just going to read you out something from the last page of her book. Shortly before her death, a young woman shared with Sister Clare her difficulties in living a life of grace and following the Lord. Sister Clare confided to her the words that the Lord himself had spoken to her in a moment of difficulty. "If you can no longer walk, I will carry you on my shoulders. Do not leave me." She turned to the young woman and exclaimed, "If you can no longer walk, I, Sister Clare, will carry you on my shoulders. Do not leave the Lord. Do not leave him." Perhaps Sister Clare wants to direct these words to all of us. In fact, people of all states of life, from all over the world, contacting us, affirming that Sister Clare has helped them in their spiritual lives. Desperate souls at the border of suicide receive hope. University students lost in a life of vice are given strength to turn back to the Lord. Lukewarm Catholics recover a desire to be holy and love God with all their hearts. Young men are inspired to give their lives to the Lord and enter seminary. Young women decide to dedicate their lives to God in various religious institutions. Countless seminarians and religious have told us that Sister Clare has saved their vocations right when they thought there was no other choice than to turn their backs on God. How can the yes of just one woman bring about so many spiritual fruits? And I'm going to answer that question. How can the yes of one woman bring about so many spiritual fruits? If you read this book, the answer is very clear. This woman had union with God. This woman had union with God. And that's why God was able to work through her and produce fruits. And many of the fruits are after this woman's death. Some people might say, oh, she could have done other things. She could have had a family. What a waste of life. This is what the secular world says. Well, why are you living this way, giving up everything? And yet this woman has produced so many fruits. God, through her, has produced so many fruits. If we're united to Christ on the vine, he produces fruits. I don't want this video to go on too long, because if you go to Home of the Mother channel here in Ireland, Father Luke Damasi has a channel and he's regularly blogging about this. But I do want to do two reflections on this. Last year, my son and myself, we were on the Camino, and we took a detour and went up to Las Brisas in northern Spain, where the brothers have a house. The fathers have a house up there. And I remember, they were very gracious to us, and they gave us 2 rooms below in front of their chapel, just as you come into the community, and we stayed there. And I walked into their chapel in Spain, and as soon as you walk into the chapel, you could really understand what Home of the Mother, Hogar de la Madre, actually meant. They had this most beautiful chapel that really I have ever seen. A work of art, a work of love. Sometimes in religious communities, in our modern church architecture, you walk into a chapel and you're left where, well, it's completely blank. There might be a cross, there might be some religious thing at the centre, but it's not some place you probably want to return to. Some sacred spaces, you just walk in, okay, this is so sterile, so minimalistic that I'm not There's nothing that's going to stick in my memory about visiting this chapel. Whereas you walked into that tiny chapel in where the brothers live, where the fathers live in northern Spain, and it was a work of love. And they were telling me that it was the sisters that decorated the chapel, or that painted, because they had painted the beautiful stained glass windows, and behind the tabernacle they had a beautiful image of Our Lady, and then they had to the right a whole wall covered with beautiful images of art that will draw you into the mystery of the faith. You know, you look at a piece of art and it speaks to you of a certain element of our faith that is extremely beautiful. So that's just a little anecdote. And there's a few Irishmen out in Madrid. And I know Irishmen who've gone out and it wasn't for them and have come back. Please, if you're ever thinking about this experience of testing to see if the priesthood is for you or religious life is for you, try it. Please try it. Please try it. That's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make, over the last number of days, I've been dealing with a horrific tragedy, a really horrific tragedy, something that I really cannot blog about on this platform for various reasons. It's such a sad situation to have to deal with, and I'm going to use this video touching on the last thing that this book is prepared. I think it's prepared by Sister Christine. I think she prepared this book. Let me just see the preface in here. Yeah, Sister Christine Gardner. So I think Sister Christine might have been the person that collated this whole thing. And Sister Christine makes the point that so many people have been inspired by Sister Clare, who are on the border of despair. And I'm going to say to the world that's looking in my videos, because people the same have contacted me. I was in the border of despair. I was going to take my life, and I saw your video, or I came on the walk, or I did this. Some of my videos, some videos that I've tried to prepare over the years, I've spent hours kind of scripting it out and preparing it out, and trying to do it properly. People say you need to be prepared more in your videos. You talk too much off the cuff, Robert. So prepare it out and, do more research. And some videos I've spent hours doing research, hours. And then I prepare it, I script it, I record it, I edit, and I put it up. I could spend like 4 or 5 hours. And then afterwards, days, weeks afterwards, months afterwards, it's got like 50 or 100 views, or, nobody's interacted with it. And I said, wow, I spent so much time in that video. Other videos, I just speak from the heart for 10 minutes, and it gets thousands of videos and people contact me. I don't know why that's the way that this thing works, but I want to give you this message of hope. Hope. Like, really, I really need to give this message of hope. This is why this sister has influenced the world. And she's a Catholic influencer after she died. Hope. To have hope. To speak of Christ, to speak of our faith. Our faith instills in us, shows us the hope of our existence. Ireland is desperately in need of Catholics to speak of their experience of Christ. And this is what I really encourage people. I really, really do encourage people. In the church, I've seen it. I've seen everything in the church. I've seen everything. Sometimes you get so disillusioned with structures and, the scandal and human nature and, things that don't work out, and it can be disheartening. But then I see the world, and I say, my God, when I see such despair in the world, when I see such really despair, there's hope. and I have to instill this in my video, have to instill this in anybody that's looking at this video. If you're dealing with problems in your life, things aren't working out in your life, your university studies are not going well, your leaving cert isn't going well, you're caught up in addictions, or you're caught up in a cycle of depression and so forth, do a retreat. Go to Spain. Go to Spain. Reach out to Home of the Mother or some other. Do you have any upcoming retreats that I can come to, etc.? There is always hope. There is always hope. And you will find in our Catholic faith a beautiful well that will refresh you of knowing Christ. And that's why, I do recommend it. It's a beautiful day for Derry today. It's a beautiful day for Ireland. It must be so amazing for Bishop Donal to see to be at the opening of this process of canonization for a Derry woman that practically that he would have known in person, that that had such connections to Derry. To see this, it must be a momentous occasion for Catholics in Derry. And again, I'm going to give this message to Catholics around Ireland. You have some incredible Catholics in Derry, lay Catholics especially, and incredible priests. Again, I speak of that experience of the Cursillo in Derry, such optimism, such hope, such beauty. If you want to know active lay participation in the church, go up to Derry. I believe me, please go up to Derry. And I don't know, they seem to be on this they seem to be going from strength to strength up there. I think this is all tied in. And we also have this other the work that has sprung from Derry. We also have Emma Gallagher's Road to the Triumph that was done a few years ago in Australia. There's so much hope. There's so much hope. Can't emphasize this enough. In so much darkness in the world, there is hope. This is why Christ came. Believe in him. Go to him. Pray with him. This is what my message to you is. And you can tune in to today's opening ceremony on Home of the Mother's channel. If you go to that, Hogar de la Madre, I'll put a link below so that you can follow along. But it's going to be a momentous day, a beautiful day for three countries, really. It's the cause is opening in Madrid, but you also have where she died in Ecuador and Ireland. So many Catholics in the Spanish-speaking world are going to be following this. Catholics in the English-speaking world are going to be following this story. She is an inspiration globally, and Christ takes the ordinary, the simple and he dusts it off. Another something that keeps coming to mind is the connection to Garabandal, to Our Lady of Mount Carmel. We see here the picture of Our Lady of Garabandal, where Sister Clare would have often gone and prayed up there in Los Pinos in Garabandal. And I just thought it was interesting that their first priest, their first priest to die, he died in a Carmelite monastery during Easter, during COVID. I really do think Our Lady is looking over these priests and sisters and brothers, it's so important, guys, today that we give spiritual leadership. Please, so important. Don't know how important that is. The older I get, the more I realize how serious our work of sanctification is, to become saints, which is the ordinary state of the spiritual life. To be a Catholic mystic is the ordinary state of the spiritual life. And what is Catholic mysticism. It's it's entering into Christ's love and giving that telling people about that love, telling people, there's more to your existence than your problems. Today, Christ wants to transform you. And it's a beautiful start to 2025 here in Ireland. And I do encourage Catholics who love the faith to go out and preach it, be missionary, tell people about your experience of God. And that was another thing in Curcio in Derry, was people's testimonies and people's speaking about their experiences. It was truly beautiful. And interestingly enough, in Derry, where they do Curcio, it's in a Carmelite monastery in Derry, Termabacca. And also Sister Clare would have gone there. People would have spoken. In fact, many Catholics I know have an experience or have experienced Termabacca. So I can't recommend enough that you go and do retreats up there or visit there. Father Stephen has been, renewing that monastery, and he has some young vocations there. We can see that there is definitely something happening in Derry. And the renewal of the faith will come from us practicing, reaching union with God, striving, letting ourselves be transformed. Life sanctifying grace. This is the future of Catholicism. We are called to be in a life of union with God, to be transformed by him, to know his love. And this is where we are going. Christ said to me in prayer one time, I can make anybody a saint. And it wasn't this silent inspiration. It was very forceful. He said, Robert, I can make anybody a saint. And he said, anybody, even the most lost, the most oppressed, the most sinful, the most whatever, I can change them. He can't do violence to our will. He can't come in there and do it for you. You have to offer yourself to Christ. Christ, I'm here. Please help me. It's amazing what that will do when you ask Christ, Lord, please help me. Simple prayers like this. Lord, please help me. Please help me today. Pray that with the heart. Lead me, show me, enlighten me. Ask Christ for a call on his Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit, and let yourself be transformed. And I suppose this video went on a little bit longer, but I just wanted to wish Derry Catholics all the best today. All the Catholics that have travelled, all the Derry people that have travelled from Derry to Madrid today, to the home of the Mother, to the sisters. I think it's going to be a momentous day for the church, a beautiful day for the church. And let this be a light. Let this be a light for Ireland. A flame from Derry that's going to, light up Ireland, all over Ireland, this little woman. And her tomb, her grave is in Derry. Hopefully they will move her coffin into, say, a nice church, say Long Tower or something like this. It would be nice to be able to visit Sister Clare's remains in Long Tower. I think it would be an apt location to visit. She's not far from there, but who knows? Lots of things will happen, but make a pilgrimage up to Derry. God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.